Have you ever walked away from a conversation or situation feeling like you were manipulated, but you can't quite put your finger on why? Or maybe you're constantly second guessing yourself, wondering if you've been too nice or too trusting. If that sounds familiar, stick around because I'm going to talk about the subtle signs that you might be vulnerable to manipulation without even realizing it. Now, manipulation can often be quite subtle or sneaky. And if you're a people pleaser, if you have trouble setting boundaries, if you need a lot of external validation, you might be extra vulnerable to it without even realizing it. Let's explore what may be making you susceptible to being manipulated, and more importantly, how to recognize it and protect yourself from it. The first trait is people pleasing behavior. If you find yourself saying yes when you really mean no, or you want to say no, it could be setting you up for being manipulated. People pleasers put other people's needs ahead of their own, often to the point of sacrificing their own happiness and well-being. And manipulators are great at identifying these people because if you're always aiming to please, you're an easy target. Now, you justify it by telling yourself you're being a good friend or partner, but over time, this pattern is going to leave you feeling used or resentful. So if you catch yourself bending over backwards to make other people happy, if you're neglecting your own needs, that's the red flag. It's okay to make other people happy, but if it's at your own expense, that's the red flag. Start practicing small acts of saying no to build your resilience against being manipulated. And I say start small because you don't know how to say no, or you probably don't know how to say no. And so you're going to need to practice it. It's a skill. Okay, the second trait is low self-esteem. Now, if you feel like you're not good enough, be aware because manipulators are going to use your insecurity against you. Low self-esteem is a magnet for manipulators. When you don't believe in your own self-worth, you're more likely to tolerate manipulation or toxic behavior because you don't feel like you deserve any better. Manipulators are going to prey on this. They're going to feed into your insecurity and convince you that you need them more than they need you. And this is going to create a power imbalance where the manipulator holds all the control. You're going to feel lucky just to be in the relationship. One of the strongest defenses of this is to work on your self-esteem, because when you know your worth, you're not going to let anybody else tell you otherwise and use your insecurities against you. Now, if you're finding this video helpful, other people will too. So please hit the like button and share it with your friends who could use it. And if you subscribe to this channel, it really helps me grow the channel and get these kinds of videos and tips out to other people. Thanks a lot for your support. The third trait is fear of conflict and difficulty saying no. Do you avoid arguments at all costs? Your fear of conflict in this case is going to be costing you a lot more than you realize. You become a prime target for manipulation because manipulators know that you're not likely to stand up for yourself. If you struggle to say no because you don't want to upset somebody or rock the boat or you don't want to be a bother, you're eventually giving manipulators a green light to push their agenda onto you. They're going to exploit this discomfort with confrontation, knowing you're going to go along just to keep the peace. So learn to embrace healthy conflict and learn to say no when necessary. It will make you less vulnerable. And remember, saying no doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you stronger. If you need help with saying no, because this is such a big issue for other people, I've created a free resource for you. It's called Saying It Right, Your Guide to Confident Communication, and you can get it below by clicking on the link in the description. Okay, the fourth trait is excessive trust or gullibility. Now, if you find yourself being super trustful of other people, or you tend to miss when other people are leading you astray or not being honest, that trust or gullibility is going to leave you vulnerable to being manipulated and taken advantage of, because it leads you to believe that everybody has good intentions. You think they're being straightforward and upfront with you, and you don't recognize that there's other stuff going on under the surface. Now, trusting people is a generally positive trait, and it tends to be something that humans do pretty naturally. But overdoing it is going to lead to being blind to the red flags. Manipulators are going to come across as charming and overly helpful at first. And if you tend to be a trusting person, you're going to miss those signs of their motives and how they're self-serving to them and not really that helpful to you. It's okay and normal to trust, but you want to use a little caution here. You want to learn how to set boundaries and protect yourself, and know that doing so does not make you mean or cynical. It means you're smart about who you are and who you allow into your life. The fifth trait is a need for approval and poor boundaries. Now, if you find yourself constantly seeking external validation, that desire is something manipulators can use against you and get their hooks into you. So when you crave approval, when you go out of your way to do things that aren't in your own best interest, that's when manipulators can use that need for approval against you. This really does go in hand with having poor boundaries, because you let people cross the lines just so they'll like you more. Manipulators can smell this need for approval from a mile away, and they're going to use it to control you, making you feel like their praise is conditional on you meeting their needs. So strengthening your boundaries and finding approval within yourself is going to stop manipulators in their tracks. You don't need to earn anybody's approval but your own. The sixth trait is too much empathy. Now, empathy is generally a good thing because it allows you to see the good in everyone. But is that true even if they're treating you badly? Being highly empathetic is great, but you're vulnerable to manipulation if you're not balancing it with self-protection. When you empathize too deeply with others, you're prone to excusing their harmful behavior. You're prone to giving them too much slack or the benefit of the doubt. You're also prone to thinking that you can help them or that they are eventually going to change. Now, empathy is a good thing, and it does allow people to make changes, to express themselves, to be more authentic. And it's very important for relationships, but it should never come at the expense of your well-being. So if you find yourself using your empathy to excuse bad behavior, that's a sign that you might be manipulated. So shift your perspective to be more protective of your well-being, to prevent others from using your kindness against you. It's a lot of traits, and if any of them sound familiar, be rest assured that you are not alone in this. The first step in avoiding manipulation is recognizing the patterns that leave you vulnerable: the people-pleasing, the lack of self-awareness, the low self-esteem, the difficulty with saying no and setting boundaries. And if you learn how to address these, you can protect yourself from people who are going to take advantage of you. Remember, you have the power to control how much access you give people to you in your life. Use it wisely and don't give it away easily. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. You got this. I'll see you in the next video.